Hi guys, and welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. Today's video I'm going to be sharing 4 simple dinner ideas or dinners that we had during the week. If you are new, welcome. My name is Crystal. If you guys enjoy these kinds of videos, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. For more videos like this, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Any videos or recipes that I do mention, of course, will be in the description if you guys want to keep watching more of these What's for Dinners. I do have a playlist of over 50 of them, so let's get started with this week's What's for Dinner. So on this day, we did get to go out with family to celebrate a birthday, and we went out to Benihana's. This is their onion and mushroom soup. It's very good and very flavorful broth. I did vlog about this on our Familia Adventure channel if you guys want to check that out. This is their salad and it has a ginger dressing. My husband and I, we love Benihana's. I have mentioned it here and there. It's a total experience cooking show. It's a hibachi where they cook in front of you, Japanese style. They do tricks and just so much fun. If you guys want to go check out that video, like I said, I'll link it down below. And thank you to everyone who already did. This is my plate. It was a lot of food. We did take leftovers, but we got chicken, filet mignon, chicken fried rice, and we also got some veggies and shrimp. So on this day, I made homemade chicharron, which is a crispy pork. I have a pork belly here that I purchased at the Costco Business Center, and pretty much I have a paper towel and I was just wiping off any moisture, and you'll see that I will do that throughout the video. And then I have a toothpick on my hand and I'm just making tiny holes. This part was a little time consuming, but you wanted to make sure that there was tiny holes all over the piece of pork belly. These are the little holes close up. And then from there, the next step is you want to preheat your oven to 300 degrees. And while the oven is warming up, on the back side of the pork belly, I am going to be using some Lori seasoned salt. Now, I am following a recipe, so of course I will give credit and link it down below. The only difference is in the recipe, they use a completely different spice that I didn't have. But good Lori seasoned salt has never failed me, and it didn't fail me today. So I just made sure to add some only to the back because that's what the recipe required. Normally I would say front and back, but we're following the recipe. And then making sure to rub it in. Don't be leaving seasoning just like that. Make sure you show some love. And then once again, you're going to see that I am using some paper towels or napkins and just wiping as much moisture as I can. Just because this will make sure that the skin gets nice and crispy. And here Jorge, my husband, is holding some aluminum foil because we're gonna wrap it around the pork belly kind of to make like a little wall against it, and then you'll see what the next step is right now. So once we cover the aluminum foil and made this wall, we're going to be using some kosher salt. Now this step is going to seem kind of crazy, but stay with me guys, stay with me. We are going to be adding a crazy amount of kosher salt on top, pretty much enough to make a coating on top. Now this isn't going to flavor it, this is just to help part of the process of it getting crunchy. It's gonna go in the oven just like this. Now you can use kosher salt, table salt, or fine salt. I had kosher salt on hand, so that's what I use. I'm gonna place it in the oven for 2 hours. After 2 hours, we're gonna remove all that salt. And surprisingly, it didn't make it salty. That's what I was worried about. We're gonna remove as much of it as possible. I did it first with a knife, and then I use a brush that I used to marinate meat with to brush it off. And then once again with another clean paper towel or a napkin, just making sure I am rubbing all the moisture off. Now I'm going to be cranking my oven up to 480 degrees. And here the recipe did say that you're going to leave it in there for about 15 to 20 minutes. Ours needed a full extra hour. On this date we went live. So if you guys want to check out that live, it was so much fun. I will link it down below as well, and you guys will see what we made with this chicharron.
It's like we're not going anywhere. Maybe it's because there's something in the air. And I don't even care. No, I don't even care anymore. It's like
Wow.
It's good. It's not salty. How's that crunch though?
You gotta taste it. I'm sorry, guys.
The milk in your mouth.
It is. Once again, look at it.
Wow. Okay. We're gonna go live now. So this is just for the what's for dinner. Stay tuned.
Great.
I'll link it down below.
Great. So pretty much this gets cooked by itself. You don't have to be, oh, well, let me check it. No, no. Give it the timer, what it says, and pretty much it does it itself. The oven does its work, you know?
And super, super easy. Thank you, Jesus. That looks amazing. Ooh, I just wish you guys can smell it. I know it sounds annoying me saying that, but it, oh my goodness, yes. It completely finished. It was that good. My nieces and nephews came over, and then we sent some out with some family, but we pretty much made burritos out of it, and with some refried beans. It was so, so good. We also made a salsa, so if you guys are interested in that video, I'll link it down below. We just had such a good time, and it was so, so good, like I said. The funny thing is that we wanted to make tacos, but we were out of corn tortillas, so we used that. We wanted to make guacamole, and it didn't happen, but at the end of the day, the results were amazing, and that was dinner on that day. So on this day, we made barbecue chicken legs with potatoes and rice. Just showing you some of the seasons that I use. I do put a little bit of cooking spray on the bottom of my oven baking dish, and then I am going to be seasoning chicken legs. If you guys like barbecue chicken, you can use chicken thighs, chicken legs, even chicken breasts, but we normally use chicken legs or chicken thighs. And here I'm just seasoning it with some Lori seasoned salt, black pepper, and also this honey barbecue seasoning. And the same way I season one side, flip it over, and don't forget to season both sides of the meat. It's an extra step, but it's a must. You have to season both sides of the meat to get the full flavor. And then just adding the seasonings once again. The honey barbecue seasoning doesn't have so much salt. It's just more flavor, and it's really, really good. It still does have salt, but not as much as the Lori seasoned salt. And then from there, I'm gonna be rubbing it in as well. Just don't leave seasoning just laying there flat. You gotta rub it in. These are little extra steps, but this just enhances the flavor of all the food, at least in my experience. I feel like it does. And then on the side, I'm going to be cutting some potatoes. This is one of my husband and my daughter's favorite dish. I did show how to make this in a toaster oven. I'll link it down below. But if you guys are familiar, my oven wasn't working, and now it's working again. We actually got a new one. What am I saying? So we were using the oven all week. We were just enjoying having it, and so excited to finally make these big dishes of food for our family. And then, like I said, here I'm just seasoning the potatoes, adding the same seasonings. You can use olive oil if you want, so that the seasoning can stick to the potatoes. I just use the avocado cooking spray. And then to my baking tray, I'm going to be adding the potatoes. Now normally I like to add 1 potato per person, but in this case I did use 4. It was a little bit too much. I prefer using like 2 or 3. But my husband wanted me to add 4, so I added 4. And then I'm using about 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of butter, and then I just make sure to add it on each leg. And then I'm going to put it in the oven at 400 degrees for about an hour. Normally I do cover it with an aluminum foil. I just forgot to on this day, but it was totally fine. It didn't dry out. And then on the side, I am going to be making a butter rice. I have shared this recipe before on my channel and how to make it, but I wanted to show it again. So pretty much I'm using about 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of butter, letting that melt. And then I'm making about 1.5 cups of rice. So I'm just going to let that toast up. Once it gets nice and golden, I add double the amount of water. I use hot water, and then once that comes to a boil, I love using the Nor Suiza, the caldo de pollo. I use about 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons. This gives the rice so much flavor. And then I make sure to give it a good mix. Now you can stop here and have the rice like this and let it cook, but we like to add corn, and I was trying to use up this frozen corn that I've had in my freezer for a long time, so I just added the rest of it that I had in there. But besides frozen corn, I've also used canned corn, which is what I normally use. So once I add the corn in there, since they already had come to a boil, I lowered the heat, I put the lid and let it cook for 20 minutes. So once the chicken is fully cooked and also the potatoes, I used some barbecue sauce that I had in my fridge, and this was the last of it. And then I just add barbecue to both sides of the chicken and also on the potatoes. This recipe is my mother-in-law's recipe. I just have adapted it to the way that we like to eat it more, and that is the only difference, is that I add a little bit of extra seasonings and black pepper, and that I add barbecue on the potatoes. Just those little extra steps. Of course, any of my recipes that I share with you guys, feel free to adapt them to your own preference. That is the fun part of cooking, and I always suggest that to make it your own. So now it's going to go back in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. If you like it more crispier, leave it a little bit more. If you like it just lightly, leave it 5 to 10 minutes. My oven was preheated and it cooked at 400 degrees. I like that everything, once it's all done, everything comes out at the same time. The rice is ready, the chicken's ready. Normally I do serve this with a salad, but I was all out of romaine lettuce, so this is what we had for dinner on this day. So on this day, I was trying a new recipe that I kind of just thought of. It is a slow cooker or a crock pot recipe. I've been trying to make one at least once a week. So I started by using some avocado oil spray just so that nothing sticks, and adding that to my slow cooker. So pretty much what I'm making today is a green bean casserole, but with chicken. If you like green bean casserole, you're gonna love this recipe because I really enjoyed it. The only difference is that it's not a casserole, it's not in the oven, and you add chicken. So I started by using 2 chicken breasts that are fully thawed out, and then I'm just adding seasoning to it. I'm not going crazy with the seasoning because I am adding a can of cream of mushroom, but I'm just adding black pepper, and then I'm adding some of the Flavor God garlic lovers. Again, this does have salt in it, but it's very minimal, so I like adding that because it gives flavor to the chicken. And then this is the can of cream of mushroom. A little tip that my husband shared when we recently got married, like almost 12 years ago, was that he always told me to clean the can, and as you saw, it came with like a little bit of dust or dirt that it collects on it. So now I'm adding a little bit of the crispy onions on top of the chicken, and then I'm gonna flip it and add it to the bottom. And really it wasn't a little bit, I think I went a little overboard and added too much. I feel like I should just add a little bit in it and then on top after, but either way it was still pretty good. And then I did have a bag of frozen green beans, but I actually thawed them out in my fridge the night before. And then I'm adding a whole can of the cream of mushroom. This was the Aldi brand, like a light version, and it was pretty good. It was the first time that I've tried it, and that can was just sitting in my cabinet, so I really wanted to use it up too. And then I'm just making sure that the cream of mushroom, that all of the chicken gets nice and coated with it. And then I'm gonna cook this in the crock pot for about 2 to 3 hours on high. And then at the last minute I decided to cook the green beans separate. This is after 2 hours, and oh my goodness, it smelled amazing. It was like nice and bubbly. The onions got a little bit of flavor to it as well. So at first, when I was thinking of making this dish, the last 20 minutes I wanted to add the green beans in the crock pot, but what I ended up doing was just so it could look more presentable, half of the green beans I cooked them, I actually just steamed them, and then the other half you'll see that I threw it in the bag. And it was so good. I added the same seasonings to the green beans and the black pepper. The only thing that I didn't add, which you normally would add in a traditional green bean casserole, is liquid like milk. Usually the recipe will call for like a cup of milk. You can definitely add that if you want to, or a cup of water just to give it more liquid. I'll try that next time, but it really was good. Like I said, for presentation wise, I served it like this separate, and it was really good. This made enough for a couple of meals. Of course, my family did not want nothing to do with this because they don't like green beans, they don't like green bean casserole, they don't like none of this cream of anything. They don't like none of this stuff. So this was pretty much for me, and I had this for a couple of days, but it was so good. I'm not complaining. I didn't have to share. That was nice. Once I finished it, I turned off the crock pot. I added the rest of the green beans, and pretty much with the residual heat of the crock pot, the green beans pretty much cooked. The next day I just mixed everything together. It looked like a hot mess, but it tastes so good. If you like green bean casserole, I really recommend this this dinner. So if you guys missed the live that we did during the week and you want to get notified, make sure to hit the bell and press all, and that will notify you each time that I upload a video, if that is something of course you guys are interested in, because sometimes I do get messages and comments saying that they didn't get notified. So go ahead and click the bell. And then I also want to say too, I do get comments on how can I help your channel. You guys simply are amazing just by watching and giving the video a thumbs up. But if you want to do an extra step, I would really appreciate if you guys can share the videos, share it with friends, share it on social media. That really helps my channel, and I really appreciate that you guys take the time to watch it. I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this week's What's for Dinner, and I will see you guys on the next one.